Hello everyone, my name is Tonjego and today we'll talk about critical Brownian multiplicative chaos. So this talk will be mainly focused on this first article here, but we will also need to go through a bit of this second article there. So let's start with some motivation. On the left hand side we have a planar simple random walk, so it starts somewhere there and we run it for some time. And on the right hand side we have the local time profile of the walk. So in red we see points that have been visited often by the walk, and in a pale yellow color we see points that have been visited only once or twice, let's say. So let's focus only on the second picture. Now maybe let's run the walk for slightly longer and let's zoom out to obtain such a picture. Let's do it one more time. And so the focus of this talk will be these red points, so these points that have been visited unusually often by the walk, that we call thick points. And so basically the goal is to understand the scaling limit of this set of points. So this is an old problem going back to Erdős and Taylor in the 60s. In this talk we will try to build the limiting objects that encode the scaling limit of these thick points. So this talk will be basically divided in two parts. The first one will be the subcritical regime, and the second one will be what happens at criticality. So we start with some heuristics that are based on Brownian multiplicative chaos theory. So first of all, it comes with no surprise that in order to build these limiting objects, we will use planar Brownian motion. So we have a bounded simply connected domain D in R2, a starting point x0, and we run a Brownian motion B. We kill it for when it hits for the first time the domain D, the boundary of the domain D, sorry. So the heuristic is the following. Define Lx to be the amount of time spent at x before time tau, before the Brownian motion exits the domain D. In other words, Lx is the local time at x. In view of Dynkin type isomorphisms, we can think of the square root of L as being a log correlated field. So it is quite natural to define the following measure m gamma to be e to the gamma square root of Lx dx. So here gamma is nothing else but a real parameter between 0 and 2. And so if we define such a measure m gamma, we should obtain a measure which is supported on the gamma thick points of Brownian motion. So these gamma thick points, they correspond to points where the local times Lx is atypically large. In other words, points that have been visited unusually often by the Brownian trajectory. So of course, this does not make any sense because Lx is not well defined. Lx is maybe 0 or infinity. So we need to do something a bit more clever, let's say. But okay, so it turns out that Lx epsilon, the local time of the circle centered at x of radius epsilon, these local times, they turn out to be well defined. So we can define the following measure, which is nothing else but the approximating version of the multiplicative chaos measure that we had before, this m gamma here. So here we have just replaced Lx by Lx epsilon. We normalize slightly the local time by the perimeter of the circle, 1 over epsilon. And in front of the measure we have this normalizing factor, square root of log epsilon, epsilon to the power gamma square root 2. So the first theorem ensures that these measures converge towards a random Borel measure m gamma that we call Brownian multiplicative chaos. So the convergence here is in probability, and the underlying topology is the convergence, is the weak convergence of measures. Maybe here let me emphasize that gamma is strictly less than 2, so this covers the entire subcritical regime, but it does not cover what happens at criticality. So the limiting measure here, m gamma, that we get is non-degenerate, conformally covariant, and as desired before, is supported on gamma thick points. So here we can maybe give a precise definition of gamma thick points. So these are the points where Lx epsilon has the following atypical behavior. Maybe let me just recall that if a point has been visited by the Brane trajectory, typically square root of 1 over epsilon Lx epsilon will be of order square root of log epsilon. Now we have simulations of these measures for a domain D being a square and the starting point being a center of a square. In blue is depicted the Brane trajectory, which is the same one for 4 different values of gamma. And what we can see here is basically the density of the measures. So although these measures m gamma do not have a density with respect to Lebesgue measure, if they had, the densities would look like this. So maybe we can see that when gamma grows, the measures are supported on fewer and fewer points. Okay, so now I'm about to talk about criticality. So when gamma is equal to 2. So the first result in this direction is the fact that the subcritical normalization yields a vanishing measure at criticality. So in order to obtain an interesting object, we need to normalize the measures slightly differently. We will do it in 2 ways. Firstly, we use the Senetta-Heide normalization. So we just blow up the subcritical normalization by this deterministic factor, square root of log epsilon. Secondly, we use the derivative martingale normalization, which is we differentiate the subcritical measures with respect to gamma, evaluated at gamma equal to. In other words, we multiply the subcritical measures by this random multiplicative factor in parentheses here. So the theorem is the following. Okay, so here we have defined 2 measures, m epsilon and mu epsilon. And the theorem tells us that m epsilon and mu epsilon converge towards 2 random Borel measures, m and mu. Moreover, these 2 measures are given by this simple formula here. So in other words, the 2 different approximation procedures yield the same limiting measure. This measure is non-degenerate. The first moment blows up. So the fact that the first moment blows up is really why the critical case is much harder to handle with than the subcritical ones. So in this picture here, we saw that the measures are supported on fewer and fewer points as gamma approaches 2. But actually, at criticality, we still get a measure which is non-atomic. So this provides the first instance of a truly non-Gaussian critical multiplicative chaos. Now I want to explain that we can actually build the critical measure from the subcritical ones. So recall that m gamma is the subcritical Brane multiplicative chaos measure. So we take m gamma, we divide by 2 minus gamma, and we let gamma go to 2. What we end up with is nothing else but the critical measure that we have just built before, 2 times mu. To finish this talk, I will maybe come back to the very first picture of thick points of random walk. And I want to make maybe the following informal comment, which is that the subcritical measures, m gamma, they indeed describe the scaling limit of gamma thick points of planar simple random walk. So this is at the heart of a different paper. But so this is only a subcritical result. And as a conjecture, mu, the critical measure mu, should also describe the scaling limit of the very thickest points of planar random walk. So if you want the most extreme thick points of planar random walk. For instance, it should encode the convergence of the supremum of local time of random walk. Thank you for your attention.